don't scream. Whatever you do, don't scream. I'm not going to do it this week.
Let's grow.
There you go, Tommy. All right. Project 2740 Q&A Live. We have our good friend here, Claire O'Connor, with us. We really admire everything that you're doing. We appreciate that you're here with us again. You've been a great, valuable member to the community. You're really shifting how you're building your business, how you're building yourself, who you're communicating with, what opportunities you have, what opportunities you should eliminate. It's really been a great experience to watch your evolution. So thank you for trusting us to help guide you through that.
Absolutely. And if it wasn't for you, I would probably still be 6 months behind where I should have been last year. So honestly, the journey is a credit to you guys. It's a credit to the way you do business. I like to say that it's radical candor. You care deeply, but you give it to us between the eyes. When we need to move, we need to move. And I love that. That works well for me. And I'd say it works well for lots of business owners.
Nice. Tommy, how you doing, pal?
I'm doing good, man. Having a great day. Wish the weather was better outside, but you know what? We haven't had rain in so long. These 3 days of rain kind of reminds me of what we missed, but hopefully it'll get better, and I think it's going to be really cold tomorrow.
You know, I remember you're reminding me of a time when we were at our offices. Tom and I used to have an office that we would go report to, and we're outside. It was in the winter, and it was really cold. Tom wasn't wearing a jacket, and he's walking, and I'm talking to him, and he's like, and I'm like, man up. I'm like, man up.
Yeah,
do you remember what I made you do?
Yeah, I remember. Well, we were outside, and I didn't put my jacket. I remember that. And
do you remember what I made you do?
What'd you make me do? Oh, you made me. No, I don't remember. What'd you make me do?
I'm like, it's just cold. Just hold on a second. Realize it's just cold. You're gonna be warm in a second, and think about that for a moment. And what happened to you?
And I warmed up. I stopped freezing. I stopped.
Yeah,
shivering.
he was like, yeah, I'm fine.
Well, listen, it's all frame of mind. If you think it's cold out, it's going to be really cold.
Well, I call it adaptability, you know?
It's true. You have to be like a chameleon sometimes. But yeah, I was thinking about that today, that this time last year we were in our office, and it was a great experience. That was fun. We got to think about doing that a little bit differently next year. I think next year we make a point. One day a week, we're getting together face to face.
Yeah, it was so, we had an office. Last year, we were really shifting what we were doing, and we were starting to take things a bit more serious, and we needed time together instead of this Zoom meetings. So we rented an office for like 3 months. We actually saw clients there, but what we spent most of our days doing was working on our business, doing the business planning. And actually what we have implemented this year is a lot to do with what we did in that time frame. So it was really time well spent. I got a little jealous of Tom recently. You know, he let me know that he is kind of dating himself a little bit more now, and in a good way, not dating himself like he's old, because he is 2 years older than me, old man. But I mean dating himself like he's spending time with himself. And he started going out to breakfast by himself and just people watching and enjoying that time. And it made me a little jealous in a good way.
Well, why wouldn't you do that?
I have so much going on, and I really enjoy my days. There's nothing, I don't have lacking anywhere. But when I heard what he was doing, I'm like, I could add a little bit more. There's something else I could do. And it inspired me. There's about a group of 4 other business owners locally here. We started the Chamber of Commerce together about, 7-8 years ago. And I saw them at a Christmas tree lighting this weekend. And I went up to each one of them, should we go out for lunch or breakfast? They're like, yeah. So I have it on my schedule to plan that out with them before Christmas. So he inspired me.
Speaking of Christmas, are you doing a Christmas party, boys?
Yeah, we actually are doing a pseudo Christmas party. Pseudo. We're taking one of our big clients out to dinner next week, and that's the only thing we really planned before Christmas. So it's
we like to. So like last year, we took 2 of our clients out together. So we like to go and spend time with our clients in small, intimate settings. Tom and I like to go out to nice steak dinners. They're not cheap, but they're really great environments because you could spend 3 hours. It's like eating dinner in Italy when you're at a steakhouse. You're not rushed out. They already know the bill's going to be huge. You could spend as much time here as you want, but it allows us to really have conversation. And a lot of the holiday parties, Christmas parties, year-end parties that I've been to, it's kind of a free-for-all, a shit show. And it's like, all right, someone does something stupid. That's annoying. Like, you don't really get to spend time with people. You feel there's very obligatory things that you have to do. I don't like spending my time that way. What about you, Claire? Are you doing anything like that?
Well, we go to Ireland for 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks now, next week. So it is literally party central, occasion central, but a lot of family like you, a lot of family gatherings, a lot of quality over quantity, I would say. So yeah, lots of family celebrations and just genuine down to earth conversations, quality time, no rush, and just always fun in Ireland, like always fun in Ireland.
That's
wonderful.
awesome.
I was just talking to a client previous to this about having him move all his money to Ireland to avoid taxation. All right, Claire,
This conversation.
you have us here. So we've already kind of went 5 minutes into this, but why don't you just let everybody know who's watching, who you are, what you do, where they can find you, and then we'll go into what questions you have for us.
Hi everyone. I am Claire O'Connor, the Bright Life Coaching. I coach women to grow personally and professionally. I do corporate workshops and actually sports workshops as well to help people to grow professionally as well as personally.
Very nice. And what's the best place for them to find you?
Best place to find me, I am always live, me, myself, and I on LinkedIn. That's where you'll find me most frequently. I'm also on the other Instagram and anything else, all the normal places, but LinkedIn is where you'll find me, or at thebrightlifecoaching.com.
All right. So what questions do you have for us?
Okay. Well, since I mentioned that I do workshops and since I help women to grow personally and professionally, a lot of times I am approached by men to see, do I coach men? So this has been a long time conflict of mine because when I was in Ireland, I did coach men a lot, even male sports teams, on corporate teams, it would be many men and fewer women. Now, as you guys know, I am really passionate about women. I'm a sportswoman. I have been an advocate for women on my journey just because of the pain points I came through to become a coach in the first place. But I get this question often, and obviously, when you're on working with teams of any kind, corporate or sporting, there are many men on those. But my message is strong that I am a serious advocate for women. I want to know if you have any advice on how can I effectively communicate that I do actually coach both men and women, especially in corporate and sports settings, without diluting my strong advocacy for empowering women.
Okay. If you have any burning thoughts, Tom, go ahead. Otherwise, I want to jump in.
Yeah, you jump in and I'm going to follow yours.
Okay. So I like how you said that at the end, that without diluting my strong position that I'm an advocate for women. Okay. So if we start looking at that, why do you have a strong position for women?
I think, I believe that women are only coming into their own in a corporate setting now. I believe that we are catching up, and the statistics are coming out now because they have decades of research to show that women really are truly great leaders. And I only read something recently to show that women actually don't use emotion as much as men to make emotion-based decisions. So all of these statistics are coming out, but really what it boils down to is, as a young woman, as a young girl, we by osmosis consumed the beliefs about women should be this, women should be that, women shouldn't be leaders of corporate teams, women should not necessarily play sport, they should be using their knitting needles and, rubbing, looking after dolls. But that was not the case in my life, but I saw it everywhere. And I didn't actually understand the impact, me or my 4 sisters, that was really out there. And I learned it then a little bit in the media when I went in to do TV broadcasting. Why? Why do they need a woman on the panel? It's fine the way it is. So I felt the change. I was part of the change. I was part of that uprooting of, well, this is the way it's done. And then I began to really pay attention and that awareness in the world of how hard women have to fight. And usually there's a judgment about them, and they end up having to fight so hard for themselves without anyone advocating for them that they're exhausted trying. And so that leads to a lot of burnout for women. And that's a place that I did a lot of research in. And it just men don't have to work as hard. Fact.
Okay.
And I can't apologize about that because that's based on research and generations of opinions.
So let me see if I have this correct. So you feel that women finally have a seat at the table, but they're not pulling out the chair and sitting down themselves, and they need a little bit of assistance to be able to do that, stay at the table, and then eventually sit at the head of the table. Is that kind of what you're saying?
It is, but I also have a little bit of that. Perhaps I'm advocating strongly for them because it's taken so long to even get them to hear that I want to push them forward even more.
Okay. So you feel that they're included more in the dichotomy of corporate, sports, teams, leadership, all of that, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So does inclusion work well when you exclude?
Ooh, I like that reframe. No.
Okay. So does it work better if you have very similar type people, all men or all women, or does it work better if we have diversity in all of the things, in thought and background and culture, experience, talent, all of these different things? Which way would work better?
I'm 100% for the diversity.
Okay, so could you still be an advocate and have a strong position on women, but have them also understand that the other sex, if we're just going down that differentiator, the other sex has their place, their use, their ability. Some of them are above, some of them are below, some of them are next to. And if we find as a woman, our place in wherever that puzzle is for our lives, that it's already available. We're just not going after it. And we don't actually have to push anybody aside. We can bring everybody along with us.
Absolutely.
Now, couldn't we do that for both parties and let them understand that this is more beneficial if we do it together than if we try to fight against each other?
Okay. I 100% agree with this. I actually love to coach men too. I just felt that if I start to dilute that I will not be trusted as much with my message.
Okay. I wouldn't agree with that you wouldn't be trusted, but I would agree with if you started positioning yourself as I help both, you wouldn't have a strong position of like, wow, Claire is the go-to person for this.
Mm-hmm.
But what that means is you don't have to advocate for men. But you can certainly position that you help everyone. And the people who align with you, believe me, there are many, and Tom and I work with many, many men that have strong feminine sides to them, like more dominant than their male sides.
Right.
Okay. There's a gentleman in California that we're working with now. He is way more feminine, but he uses that to his advantage. So we all have estrogen. We all have testosterone, right? Okay. And some of us have more or less of one or the other. Okay. But when it all boils down, if we take out the X and the Y chromosomes and we eliminate that, we're all people, right? We're all still Homo sapiens, and we have the ability to do this together. So is there a way that you can still advocate very strongly for what you are passionate about, what you've experienced, and where you want to bring people, but then show them that, hey, there's an inclusion path, and if someone else needs that help, you may actually align with me. I don't care if you have a Y chromosome.
The funny thing is, sometimes I align more with a specific type of man or guy or leader than some of the women who approach me that I actually have to leave to one side because I don't align with them.
And I think that's a key point, Claire, that you just brought up. And that's where I was going to jump in before is that coaching is it's a very personal and somewhat intimate experience, right? You're really getting to know somebody very well. And there are certain people that you just align energetically with better than others. And in a lot of cases, it's going to be people of the opposite sex. I have several, we've had many male clients, many female clients. There's a certain, like some of our female clients who are more alpha are much easier for us to align to. Whereas, a lot of times what happens with coaches, and I see this with all people who fall into that category of life coaches, right? You niche down to, okay, I work with women, I work with business owners, I work with, people on their health. And we get caught up in all the different niches. And we forget that a coach is a coach, and the systems and the tools that we implement and help people to implement in their lives are pretty much the same. We're driving at the same thing. It's how well they implement it and they align with us that they'll execute on it. But it's the exception versus the rule, okay? Most of your rule is that you work to empower women to be the best professionally and personally as possible. Whereas The exception would be you encounter someone who has approached you, like you said, and I want to be very clear. This person, men have approached you and asked you if you coach men. So they're already seeing an alignment that they want to work with you because they see something about you that could help them. So that's the exception. It doesn't have to be the rule, but we can't leave out the exception. And I think that's one of the better ways to look at this and not confine yourself, because then you're going to limit yourself.
Yeah.
And when you limit yourself, you start to cut off your own energy and what energy you're putting out into the universe and what energy you're conveying to other people around you. So it's the exception versus the rule. There's always going to be an exception to the rule.
I like your approach there about the aligned energy, because that's really specific, especially in the world of sports or media or those kind of areas. It's very much aligned energy. And I almost felt like I was being disloyal when my messaging was so strong about empowering women.
Wow.
The other thing is, when you're putting out a message that's so strong to advocate for women, I almost felt like I was dissing men. But that was not the point. In an earlier program I was in, I was told, niche down to blow up. That was the phrase that was given to me.
The
other one
niches
was,
are in the riches are in the niches. There's a lot of cliches with it.
And
now,
the other one was broad as broke.
Claire, what that means is you have to become a specialist. You have to become a master. In anything that you're going to do, you can't be a jack of all trades, master of none. So whatever you're going to do, it has to be, I am literally the best at this. So one of my mentors once told me is like, Adam, what are you trying to accomplish? And I explained it to him and he says, why just that? Why are you not striving to be the best at that? And I'm like, well, there's already this and there's already that. He's like, yeah, but you could be the best at that here. And he gave me like a geographical location. Like, why couldn't you be the absolute best at that thing in New York? Right? Maybe not the world, but maybe New York, you could be the best at that thing. And what I'm saying is I think the strong position, the niche that people say, they look at it as like, how can I target my potential client? What I look at niches at is, what am I a specialist at? If someone in the world needed this thing, you're the person they'd go to for it, nobody else. Right? And that one thing may only be needed by 200 people in the world. But if you're the best at it, then you're the one they come to for it, right? And you have to obviously put yourself out there. But if you start muddying the waters with, I do this and I kind of do that, and sometimes I do those things, and once in a while I do that, then you're a jack of all trades. And that's why the niche thing works. But you have to reframe it to like, okay, why am I the niche? It's not because of the potential money I can make, the potential impact I can make with others. It's because I am really an expert at this thing.
Okay, that is a total flip on, as we would say in Ireland, niching down. And that is massively helpful, guys, because sometimes I don't give myself permission to go there, even though I feel a strong sense of alignment with people. I've told you in the past, I've actually parked a couple of clients. Sometimes it's for misalignment of energy with women, and sometimes it's, because I said I was coaching women, I can't coach you. Whereas I feel like, so my back to my question is, how do I do that without diluting my strong advocacy for empowering women?
5 words.
Who, what, when, where, why?
No, well, I appreciate that, but no, not those ones.
Good plug for the system.
Yeah, you're going to use these 5 words. I almost exclusively work with. Okay, what that does is shows someone you're a specialist, but it's not the only thing that you do. Okay, when you say I almost exclusively work with women, that says like, okay, I'm a specialist with women, but I will also work with men, right? I almost exclusively work with people in sports. I almost exclusively work with women in sports. I almost exclusively work with women in sports who are leaders of the corporation, right? You can go that far. It leaves all the other doors still open for you. It's a little trick that I've learned from a gentleman named Michael Goldberg. I almost exclusively work with is a very clever way to say, I'm still available to do other things, but I'm really, really good at this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I almost exclusively work with everybody. That's how I always interpret it as, because that's what you're really saying. You're not excluding anybody by doing that. You're showing that it's like you in medicine, like you go to a primary care doctor and then you go to a specialist. The primary care doctor can do almost everything the specialist does, but the reason you go to the specialist is because you want that layer of expertise. But that doesn't mean the primary care doctor can't start the initial treatment. It doesn't mean that they can't do the thing that's going to help you, right? I could give you medicine for your cholesterol, but the cardiologist would say, well, you also need to do this and this, plus what the primary care already said you do.
But flip it the other way. If you go to a specialist, could they do the things that the general practitioner can? Yes.
They
They're
could,
trained
but
in
they
it.
don't. They typically don't.
No, but they almost exclusively do brain surgery. But could they go and take your vitals? Sure.
Oh, of course. Yes.
Right, but that's my point is if you needed a checkup, if you needed a prostate exam, a neurosurgeon could do it, but I'd rather go to a proctologist.
Correct.
Okay. But the point is if you're saying, I'm in the medical profession, I almost exclusively do brain surgery. Okay, well, that still means you can practice medicine in other areas. I could get advice for you. And that advice hopefully would be at a certain point in time when you come to me is that, hey, I know this, but you really should go to the proctologist.
Okay. And that's the power of a reframe and giving yourself permission to go with where your energy aligns. Guys, that's amazing advice. Thank you so much for that one.
Listen, it's always, when it comes to coaching anybody, there has to be alignment of energy, or otherwise it doesn't work. And that's where your sixth sense comes in. And you got to trust your gut and trust the alignment and go with it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You know what? It's funny that you say that. I sent an email. I'm going to read you the last email. I introduced 2 people today. I said, here's the end of the email. To be transparent, this introductory meeting is not a commitment, but an opportunity for the 2 of you to determine if there's a mutual alignment and interest in working together.
Ooh, I like that line.
Because it's just a vibe check. This meeting is just a vibe check. They both know like, okay, this should work. Like, you're a professional at what you do. I need what you do. These 2 people should align and get together. But there's the vibe check that needs to take place. And that's why I prefaced it with, this meeting is not a commitment, right? It's to see, is there a mutual alignment, right? And alignment is energy. And that's all this one gentleman is going to do. Just vibe check. Do I like this guy? Can I see myself spending the next 2 years working with this person or not? Right. And that's how I positioned it to them. And that's how you have to be positioning it when you are investing time with people. And that is when you're nurturing someone, having conversations with them, offering them an appointment, selling them your products or service, or coaching them. Okay. All of those things, it's a vibe check. What we're doing as business owners is, instead of us being desperate of I'll work with anybody, anywhere, anytime, is saying, no. This all has to align for me. Now, it's only going to align for me if it also aligned for you. Okay, but that is the major thing in that. And that's why we still want to be a specialist, but then also leave the door open for other things. Tom and I worked with an attorney this year. You know, he was a very highly compensated, almost $1 million a year corporate attorney, and he was leaving his job. He got laid off, and he was going to go work for another company. He was going to work for the Washington Commanders and a couple of these other places, and ended up, we worked with him. That's not our typical client because the vibe just matched. I'm like, we can actually guide you towards making a really good decision on what to do here. It was just a vibe. Like, he just fit with what we did. It's not what we do. And there is probably someone that could have helped him better than us for making employment decisions. But we used our skill sets to help him with life decisions, business decisions. And because we were able to do that, he was able to then go make a confident decision in what his life would be. So he was checking our vibe, but we were checking his vibe. It wasn't what we do, but we almost exclusively work with business owners.
Guys, that is just cracking advice, I have to say, because I cannot tell you how many men I have turned down for coaching. I cannot tell you. It is so relieving to hear you guys who are so experienced, 25 years of experience, and a coach in front of me who coaches both, and to hear you give that kind of advice and being as successful as you are. It actually means a lot. So I'm happy I vibe checked with you to see if what the thing is and if it's okay. Thank you so much for that advice.
Yeah, Claire, and you can communicate that very well in a very first conversation with anybody. I almost exclusively work with these people, but I'm aligned with you, and that's more important to me than anything else. Or the reason why we're having this discovery call, this introductory call, is to see if we are a good fit. Because in order for you to be successful in whatever it is you're trying to do going forward, we have to be a fit for each other. And if I don't fit with you, I'm not going to take you on as a client and it's nothing against you. It's simply the energy is not there for the best outcome for you. And that's what I'm looking for. So if you use that, and that will not dilute anything that you're doing, that will keep you centered and focused on exactly what it is that you're supposed to be communicating through that conversation.
I'm going to read you another part of this email because it's just funny. I literally just went through something similar like this. The other part of the email, so there's these two gentlemen, Dan and Rick, that I was introducing. And I said to Dan, while Rick typically focuses on an exclusive and ongoing group of clients, he graciously agreed to work with you in my absence. Because this person wouldn't normally take this other guy, but I saw that their vibes would match.
Yeah.
And the normal person I would have sent this person to, I didn't think the vibe would match. So I literally was making this introduction on vibes. Now, they had to have the competency to be able to work together first. Okay, so like we were talking, that brain surgeon, could he give you a prostate exam? Well, maybe not you, but maybe us. Yeah, I mean, he probably could, but would I want him to? Probably not.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Super.
All
Do you
right.
have time for another question?
All right. Let's leave. We're gonna leave last words to you. I'm gonna give you a question that I've given to many, many people. So there's about 7 billion people in this world. You know that? More than that. Okay. If you had an opportunity to say something to all 7 billion people, knowing they would hear it, what would you tell them?
Well, what's coming to me now is believe in yourself, behave towards that, and become. And where did I learn that? Project 2740.
Very good.
I love it, Claire.
Thank you so much for being here. Tom, wrap it up. Give a wrap up here.
Yeah, thanks, Claire, for being here, and thanks to everybody who's been listening. We really appreciate it. We're going to jump into our regular Q&A with the rest of the members of our group. If you're listening to this and something stuck out for you, don't hesitate to reach out. We're always available. Adam and I, you can go onto our website. There's always that free introductory call that you can take advantage of and really get to know us and see if there's something that we can help you with, because that's what we're here to do. And we appreciate any opportunity that we can to serve you and live out our purpose, because whether it's a half hour or it's 3 years working together, whatever it may be, if we can have an impact on your life in some way, we want to make sure that happens, and we appreciate being able to do that for you. Until next time, check us out at atomicbusinesscoaching.com. Go to Project 2740, read everything about our group, and if you're interested in joining, check it out. And we also have other one-on-one programs that we could possibly help you with in your business and your life to help you become the CEO of your business and life. So until next time, thanks for joining. Talk to you soon.